And this is Melissa. Hi, Melissa, honey. Hi, Doc. You're well. Love you, honey. I was wondering if you could please have type 1 diabetes testimonials on your channel and then telling their story. I only know of Marcy, and that would give me a lot. You know what? Ask Marcy. She's had a couple of them come clear here recently, so ask her more about those. You know, someday we will. There's Marcy right there. Well, someday we'll have somebody come in here and go through all our files. I mean, you're talking, we have so many file cabinets in here and so many of these cases, it just, you know, they get lost to us. No offense, but we're so busy that we do one case and we got other cases right behind them, and we're so, it's like Attila just cleaned up a congestive heart failure case, and you know, this guy's out doing really well, and those are cases that are not difficult to do, and he did really well with that case because he had a client that would listen to him, and of course Attila knows exactly what creates congestive heart failure, and he cleaned him right up. And his work, of course, still got some issues in cleaning him right up. And that's only been, what, a couple months at the most. So you have to understand that we're so busy, we just go on one thing after another. And then, of course, the FDA kind of got us. But Marcy's got some more type 1s for you. And someday we'll have someone come in here and go through all our files. And because I'd really like to do that. I did that once when I went to Portugal. They have symposiums, and I set up some case studies for them. So give them some ideas. I was just in the heat of it back then. I just, you know, you grow a lot through the years. That's all I got to say. You know. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm a type 1 diabetic because 100% fruit, mono fruits with apples. Now notice your difference even with vegetables, and this is important to understand because the whole concept of sugar metabolism, this whole 9 yards, is not well understood. And then of course remember this, honey, there's neurological type 1s. You've got two. You got the beta cell, islands of Langerhans weaknesses. That would be the lymph that created that originally and whoever. But you also have the neurological side of this. That would be the autonomic and or the central. So this is why when you got a type 1, we go after all these. Of course, we clean up the gut to pull that pancreas clean, and we enhance the pancreatic cells functions. We get into the endos and up into the brain, of course, into the central and the autonomic, and we just make everything well and healthy. But notice how it's keeping you to fruits, because if you don't, notice what happens to your blood sugars. And this is type 1. Hi, I was just talking about type 1 for you. This lady says, I was wondering if you would please have type 1 diabetes testimonials on your channel and then telling their story. So we need to do that. I know you had one just come. I only know Marcy, and that would give me a lot of motivation. I'm a type 1 diabetic who is 100% fruits, mono fruits, and apples. And I was just talking about how that, when you come off of that, just how that checks your blood sugar. I remember yesterday you weren't doing too good with blood sugar. How low were you?
It was dropping. I was only in the 60s, but I had dropped pretty quick.
Did you?
So
yeah,
I just needed a couple minutes to come out of that.
It's winter and snow here. Oh, snow in Sweden. So it's challenging. No kidding. I feel sorry for her. This is
I
Melissa.
just talked to a young man yesterday who's type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll
get in there and get going on it.
He said he's tried everything.
Really?
Everything, and nothing's worked, and this is the last.
Well, you got to remember, guys, when you have genetic weaknesses in cells, if this is the case and not a neurological weakness, and even if it was, you have to allow times for the consciousness of the cell to change. So don't get too upset. Type 1 is that's more steeped in genetics than type 2, so you really have to give time to change the consciousness of cells. That's all it is. You know, that's a big difference to me between type 1 and 2. One's metabolism, of course, and one's insulin, but still, it's still a much more genetic issue when type 1's by far.
And I still firmly believe that type 1 has a lot to do with neurological.
I do too, big time. And, of course, there's another little thought here with type 1s is liver. You know, there's been a lot of conversation about the connection between the liver and the beta cells, and it's like, well, we'll think about that. I haven't seen that, but there's connections nobody knows about.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just not that we're ignorant. God is that we're ignorant. It's just that God's got.
I've told people this since I started doing this. By the time somebody has type 1, I believe that you're looking at pancreas, liver, kidney, adrenal, the whole neurological
that whole nest. So you make healthy everything, because it's hard for us even to tell whether, excuse me, whether it's a neurological or not. I mean, we look for nerve rings, but
Yep.
You just never know. And then the pituitary.
Sometimes those nerve rings can be. I'm trying to get it so that my neck's not cut off here.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
No, but sometimes those nerve rings don't even show up. They don't even
That's
show
true.
up right away.
That's true.
I've had people that they're so lymphatically challenged and backed up that it's so thick that until they start doing cleaning, then you start. Once they start removing some of that lymph from
You
the
see
eye,
it now. You can see
then
it.
you start seeing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so honey, we'll work on that for sure. We'll keep you all posted with that. You're going to be one of the recommendations here yourself because it sounds like you're doing really, really well. Don't forget the adrenal glands connection to that. I would say brain and nerve number 2 connecting link. I do upper circulation with that. I would do pancreatic, but I would maybe go back and forth between pancreas, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, liver, gallbladder. Use the capsules and really go after those tissues to inspire function. At the same time, you're cleaning interstitially, you're moving the lymph, you're removing inflammation, any suppressive action that would cause, all those sort of things.
Yep.
She says, and do you have any water filter recommendations? You know, I use RO at home. There used to be a lot of filters out there. I don't even know.
I'm looking at getting a distiller.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yep.
And just setting it outside in the sun. If people want to talk about the whole remineral,
Right.
however.
And thank you. Oh, thank you so much, sweetie. I'm sorry, Melissa. We'll do everything we can to get that stuff up. Now I feel more comfortable putting up some testimonials. But
I'd be curious to know how long she sugar loaded or if she's still sugar loading.
yeah, it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah.
You know what she means? Is she means that there's a certain time where you're going to have fat breakdown. You're going to have glucose being formed by glycogen breakdown and stuff like that, and that's what she's talking about, glucose loading. Once that reaches a certain...
Well, even cleansing the liver. Everybody talks about how the liver is a cleanser, and that's great, but the liver is still a cell.
Exactly.
It still sets out the trash, and it needs to be cleaned.
Well, where does it clean to? See, I think the mistake is that in the past, people have considered, I hate to say this, the liver is a detoxifying organ. It's a chemical transportation factory. It transmutates chemistry from one to another all the time. It has no way to eliminate externally. Your eliminative organs are your eliminative organs. Those are the ones you want working because they eliminate what's inside to the outside. So those are the ones you want to focus on, is your ability to eliminate. You can change your consumption. That's as easy as going, you know what, I love myself a little more, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to take care of myself. That's what that means. So you can take care of that. Now you got to focus on elimination. And because our chemistry ingestion has been damaging our eliminative organs, now we have eliminative organ problems.
I talked to a lady yesterday, and I told her, I said, let's look at I call it the 5 ways of eliminating. The BULLs. B-U-L-L-S. Bowels, urinary, kidney, your lymph, your lungs, and your skin.
That is cool. Bulls. I love that.
She was down in every
one of them.
one. And she has been raw for 17 years.
What?
Couldn't figure out why. And yet she's down in all 5 of those areas.
Isn't that amazing? See, so you remember when your lymphatic starts in your mother. When you're in your mother, you're hooked to her lymph, her blood. You're using your mother's nutrition. And so if your mother isn't filtering her lymph system, guess who else isn't? The baby. And this is why we're seeing cancer cells in babies born, tumors in babies born, because you realize mama's got the problem, now baby's got the problem. So this is real serious stuff. And thank God for all you mothers that are letting your young ones listen to us and teaching them how to get well, because we're in a crazy world, and those of you that do this will be the survivals of the future.
Everything you put in your mouth is a building material. You're either going to use top grade lumber or you're going to be using dry rot. You decide what you want to live in.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, honey.
So,
you want to get a chair, you can.
No, I actually have another client. I'm going to go. I come in to talk to you about something, but I'll do that in a little while.
Okay. All right. Good.
See ya. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Wait a minute, I'm still here. She's a good soul. She's kicking butt, to tell you the truth. She's got so many cases that's winning the day. You know, there's not anyone that can't win the day here. I want you to know this. There's nothing that's incurable. You might be working hard on your case. You might be locked in some past life experiences or karma that you have to work off. You could have some deep emotional things that need to come out yet. Yeah, there are people that hold these things deep within themselves. So going back to, well, not before Philip's question, going back to the brain and consciousness, you just have to pull back and start loving yourself and appreciating yourself for that part of you that's infinite. That part of you that is looking out those eyes of yours. The bodies, they all are corrupt in the sense that creation is dualistic. To have form, for the formless to create form, you have to have two forces. Not like Star Wars where you trust the Force, Luke. The question would be then, which one, Master? Because there's two forces at play in creation. This is why you have, the religions have God and the devil. They're looking only at creation. They don't understand what creates creation. So that's what makes religions a little bit restrictive to your growth, because they're looking like medical doctors at the effect. And it is the cause. And that's why it was a very good question. It doesn't, well, that was Bill. Very good question. Because it helps you to tie into what consciousness is as opposed to form. And once you get that and you realize that, then you have that understanding, the difference between the Godhead, that which is the creator, whatever word you want to use, that means the divine, that which creates all things. Because there's no way you can look at creation and think that it just is like a Hawkins thing, that it just bore out of atomic movements. No way. You have a conscious driver. And if he would go on wrong, pull him out of that chair, he would then start going, oh, I see God in everything.